Welcome back to another episode of The Average. We're here with really, well, this is up for debate, but this is a so bad it's good episode. I'm Tim,
I'm Bryce.
and this is The Average.
Yes, sir.
Do you like movies about mysterious secret societies? Movies about murderous cults? Movies where lustful teenagers are picked off one by one? Movies that cleverly disguise a message for society? Movies where ghosts have absolutely no rules? Movies where solutions are discovered and then immediately implemented, saving the day. This might just be your movie. Today we're talking Troll 2 from 1991, I believe.
I'm gonna have to call the police on you for that. Yeah,
Criminal.
hey, that's criminal what you just described there.
I'm so
How
sorry.
you went about that was criminal. Do not harm these people. They did not ask for this. Only two of them did.
I did start with the intro of "This is so bad it's good." So
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief, but I guess that's what we're here to discuss, isn't it?
Bryce doesn't enjoy bad things.
Well,
So
some say I have taste in movies, but others say I don't have fun. So that's up for you guys to decide.
I think this is a case of you not having fun.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
It's okay. It is okay to have like you have good taste in movies. I have good taste in
it's
movies. We
true. It's
love
true.
good
We
movies.
do love good movies.
This is one that you watch to laugh at because it is so bad you can't comprehend how somebody made this on purpose.
I like when I think of so bad it's good. I think Batman and Robin. Like that's one. It's like
It's so
okay,
bad it's bad. I
we're
can't
all,
sit through that
man,
movie.
man, we're off to a great start, aren't we? Yeah. So we're talking about Troll 2, obviously, a viewer request from two fellow listeners of the podcast. So I mean, I don't have really much to say. Tim, would you like to kind of lead us into
I
this?
love this movie. Let's go.
Go
Okay.
for it.
Um, so the movie is about a family from the city doing kind of like it's like wife swap, but except it's your house with somebody in a different situation than you. So family from the city is all excited to go to the country and swap with some farmers, and they're all excited to go on vacations where they get to be farmers. And I don't know how you do that, especially in the 80s. I don't know how you signed up for that situation, but you're there, okay? And then
Right.
they go on this vacation. The daughter has this boyfriend that missed the RV because he slept in too late. And so he somehow gets some friends to go with him to follow this family to the country. And then instead they just park in the woods. But that's part of the story. I'm not quite sure why. Um Family gets to the city and right away there's just mysterious things going on. Like the family that left, we find out later that they didn't leave. They just, oh, they apparently had car trouble, but they made this huge meal and they put green butter on the corn. And the family was like, yes, let's eat that. And then why you would just eat something that has green butter on it, I'm not sure. Everything on the table was green. Why you would even eat food prepared by somebody else that wasn't a professional cook in the restaurant situation, like not your neighbors that you knew, random stranger left you a meal at their house. Heck no, not participating. Anyways, we forgot to mention that the younger son in the family sees the ghost of Grandpa Seth, who we learned about through um all the exposition we needed. Just everything you need to know is told to you in the script. Everything's covered, I think. Um But the young boy sees Grandpa Seth, and Grandpa Seth is trying to protect his family from the threat of the goblins, not trolls, like the movie title would suggest. He's protecting us from goblins
This is going to be
because
such a long episode.
that is what is in the fairy tale that he read his grandchild at night before bed. A fairy tale about goblins devouring people in the woods.
Oh my god.
And So apparently, this random farm town that this family decided to go on vacation to just happens to be infested with goblins. The city's name should have given it away. After all, it is Nailbog, or goblin spelled backwards. And there's a witch. I don't really get that, but she's there. And she is both a goblin shapeshifter, possible leader of the goblins, but the whole goal is to turn everybody into half plant, half human hybrids because I think vegetarians are bad. I think. Because we also don't drink real milk in Nilbog. It's the devil's drink. I don't know if I covered it all.
I
If you're
I was
confused,
just letting you riff at that point. I didn't
okay.
I didn't even know where
Okay,
to
well,
stop.
I do know at the end of this, it's all about good versus evil, or correction,
Oh my gosh, I
the
forgot
power
about that.
the power of goodness.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right.
Only only the power of goodness can defeat evil. So put your hands on this rock and concentrate. What we're concentrating on, I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's goodness. So there you go. If you haven't seen Troll 2, I'll get
Don't
to it
watch
at the
it.
end. I'll get to it at the end on my final thoughts.
Sorry, that
But
was premature.
I do want to say before we get going, there is a fantastic documentary about this movie called The Best Worst Movie Ever Made. I think it's streaming for free on Tubi. It gives you a lot of detail into the making of this movie and kind of the cult following that has risen since its release. So as we go through this, I might be referencing some stuff from that as well. And then yeah, let's just I'm excited to get into this movie cuz crap is more fun to talk about than brilliance.
Uh, uh, you know, okay, whatever. Let's just go. Just go. Who's
All
kicking
right.
us off? You or me?
I'll kick it off.
Go ahead.
I gave I gave the story a 1. I think that's the lowest score I've ever given a story. I gave the story a 1 because there kind of was one there. It was stopping the goblins, escaping from the goblins, getting trapped by the goblins. Like, it wasn't a good story. I don't really follow it. I don't really know what happened, but it was at least coherent enough for me to understand that goblins were bad, family escaping is good. So therefore, I give it a 1 because it wasn't a jumbled mess like Eraserhead.
Is that all?
I mean, there's not really much else to talk about on the story unless you want me to bring up the popcorn scene.
Let's just okay. Let's slow down. Okay, let's take this one scene at a time. Okay. So I gave it a 0. I don't even know what this. I don't even think there's a story here. Honestly, I'm thoroughly convinced after pondering this movie and thinking about what I even watch. There is no story going on. Like, stuff is just happening. Nothing is ever explained as to why does what and what does why. It's just a mess. Like, I was pretty checked out after trying to think of even when I checked out. Honestly, by the time they hit the town with like the green food and like there's a section where apparently time just freezes, and then the kid, like, he's trying to like muster up the courage to like tell his family not to eat the food or something. And then we get we get a cut to where he's about to pull down his pants and apparently pee on the food, and it's just, I checked out at that point. There's no story here. None of
I
it
love
makes
that.
any doesn't make no, it doesn't make sense. No. Nothing's ever
Well,
explained truly in this movie.
apparently the ghost of Grandpa Seth can freeze time, but only once.
Yeah,
He never does it again when
it
it would
doesn't
be
make
helpful.
any sense at all. There is no cohesive story. It's just stuff happening for the sake of stuff happening. It's a 0 out of 5 for me.
All right. All right. This is actually going to go pretty quick. I don't think it's going to.
We're at 10
All right.
minutes, so we got time.
So character in this film, since I base it on character arcs and how much characters learn and do they grow as characters, um I really wanna say, like, I can make a strong case for this movie that the characters don't grow at all. There's absolutely no character development whatsoever. It's a big fat 0 on the character development, and actually it'd be a big fat 0 on, like, just characters in general. Grandpa Seth sucks. This ghost has actually, I shouldn't say he sucks. I just love the fact that this ghost has no rules whatsoever. He can freeze time one moment, he can be in a mirror one moment. One moment the sister can see him, the next moment not. It's great. There's a lot of great character in the ghost, as in like there's no character that is capable of being followed. The little boy is the same at the beginning of the movie that he is at the beginning of the movie. The mom is cringe the entire way. The dad is one of my favorite characters because well, I'll get into that in the performance. But anyways, character growth and how compelling the character's journey is and their emotional journey and discovery. Um, y- you can make a case that the boyfriend has that journey of like forsaking his friends to be with his girlfriend who's 16. But even then, it's just a 0. It's a fat 0 for me.
Yeah, let me not waste any more time on this one. It is a fat 0 for me as well. Absolutely zero character arc for any of these characters. I like there's just yeah, I don't it's just weird. The
I'm
characters are
having so
really
much fun
I'm trying
listening to.
to add something to that like the I don't even know what to say. Like there's no character arc. Like you said, you maybe could make an argument for the boyfriend having an arc, but not really. That
Is he even worth it? No, he's a total side character who doesn't serve the story whatsoever,
right, exactly. Like
other than to have his friends be picked off one by one.
yeah, like I'm trying to find something like anything that holds water in the character department here. Okay. This doesn't even have to do with character in general. I just liked it when she did it. So it was that moment where Holly goes and confronts her boyfriend at the RV or something, and she just says something, and he says something casually back, and she just straight up decks this man in front of his RV, and it was just the funniest thing of the whole. That was the high point of the movie for me, just because it was so like out of pocket for her to just slug her boyfriend in the face for what at the time I thought was just no reason at all. So I guess that was a cool character moment. Anyway, that's about all I got. It's a 0 out of 5.
I just had this moment. I wanted to bring up the moment in the van when they're all on their way to the city. And I'm sure this is supposed to show us a little bit about the characters and the bonding and the family element here, but how they're kind of fighting over the boyfriend
Right.
and like things are getting hot and heated and yelling at each other. And then mom goes, Joshua, sing me that song I like. Sing
Oh
me that
my
song I like.
gosh. I forgot about that. Oh,
Start singing row, row, row your boat. Like
yeah,
mom
but
can't
not just
remember it.
that. Everyone started singing it, but they weren't even singing it together. So it was like a band of people singing "Row, row, row your boat" at different points until like for 2 seconds at the end, they finally all get on beat with each other. Oh my
it
gosh, dude,
it's so funny.
it's
It's so
so
funny.
bad, so bad.
Oh, I love it. Anyway, anyways,
Oh, what's next on this?
I'm just having
Awful.
fun listening
Yeah,
to
it's
Bryce.
just this is just fine.
This is painful to Bryce.
This is
His
just
moment is Oppenheimer. My moment is right now with Troll 2.
what a beautiful thing we got going here.
All right.
Next up,
So music and sound design, I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't know what you were
I
thinking
did give it
either.
a 1. I did give it a 1 because I did think, I like my cheesy 80s synth music, and there are a couple of these that I was like, "This is a bop." And then, unfortunately, it was repeated multiple times throughout the film. It was
Hmm.
like, "Hey, we have 1 track we can use. Let's use it 3 times." But
Yep. Uh
also,
huh.
we have to
Exactly.
the sex scene in the RV gets 1
Oh
point all for
my
itself for having the
gosh.
porno music background.
Oh my gosh.
It's the music is amazing. The music was amazing in that scene.
It,
Otherwise, the sound design, there are moments where it sounds like they are standing 3 feet away from the mic, and there are moments when it sounds like they are standing 10 feet away from the mic.
yep.
There are moments when it sounds like there is something directly in contact with the mic making the sound. It's all over the place. The sound is all over the place. I don't even remember what the goblins sound like
I
because I'm
know. I didn't
pretty sure it's
even.
just like frequency shrieking.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, I guess, because I don't know what else to
But
call it.
which is interesting because they're also shapeshifters who manage to look like humans and speak. But apparently, in their original goblin form, the best they can do is make that noise.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's awful. It's awful. The music, the sound design on this is about as bad as it gets. It sounds like it was. There are moments it sounds like it was recorded on a home like JVC video camera.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
And
yeah.
then there are moments that we were like, "Oh yeah, this movie did have for the time, it had a somewhat budget. Like it wasn't a super super low budget. It was low budget, but there are times that you're like, "Oh, there was at least a crew and one of them might have had a mic, but that's about the best it gets."
Yeah. What are we on? Sound of Music. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Fat
You
Zero.
just said the sound of music. Anyways,
Sound of Music. Yeah, that's another awful movie.
I'm not a
Uh,
fan either
I
actually.
don't like it. I don't think it's good. But that's not what we're
It's
hating
so
on today. That's not what we're gonna hate
boring.
on. My dog. All right. So yeah, yeah. It's just all I hated all the music in this movie. I thought it was awful. It sounded goofy and just did not fit anything. The chase sequences especially got on my nerves. Like, man, I don't even know how to describe what's that?
So much to say about the chase sequence
Like
at
the
the end.
chase sequences specifically just could easily be the zero here for the entire movie. Just I don't man, it
It was
just
almost slapstick music with the scene that's supposed to be threatening and scary,
but like
and
it's
the
this
music
super upbeat 80s
yeah,
synth like I'm trying to think of like a comparable
really
like
jazzercising to it.
right, like it honestly like think basically the dance sequence in Footloose. Like that's what it felt like. Like it didn't fit at all. I just hated the music. The sound
What
design
about the
was
dance sequence the dance sequence in this movie?
oh, I forgot. Quit reminding me of this movie, man. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
there's a
sorry.
dance sequence, and that was weird. But oddly, the most normal thing in this '80s movie. This was '80s, right?
It came out in '91, I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah,
filmed in
close
the '80s,
enough.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like that was the most like normal thing to happen in this whole movie because it fit its time period, which is saying a lot. Yeah, sound design as an audio engineer myself, I was incredibly disgusted by the sound work of this movie. Oh man. Although I will say this movie did give us one of the best sound bits in cinema history. So
Which one was that?
uh, the one guy talking about how they're gonna eat him too. So credit where credit's due. You made it in film history for something, and I can give credit there. Still a 0 out of 10, 0 out of 5.
All right, all right. So moving into editing and special effects, this is one that I actually had to do a double take, and I stand by my score.
Yeah, me too.
Um, I gave it a 2. It looked like most of the budget went to the special effects in this film.
That's actually fair to
Um,
say. Yes.
the a lot of the prosthetics look good. They don't look great. They look good. As if there was an artist behind it who kind of knew what they were doing, but didn't have the proper supplies to do it well.
Yeah.
Um, there's these plant human hybrid things that are going on, and you can clearly tell they were using plastic plants for the
Yeah.
leaves. There's no question. You look at it, I'm like, yep, that's a
Yep.
plastic plant.
Exactly. Right.
Uh, but overall, when the skin and the bark of trees starts to meld in some of the scenes, it looked pretty good. It was pretty convincing. There are some like fake mouthpieces. This isn't it's still on the bad side, but this is a spot where the movie deserves some credit. The masks are really kind of bad, but also I haven't made a mask myself to tell you how hard that is. And they made quite a variety of them. Some of them are worse than others. One of them is particularly
Is it the one with the
hilariously bad.
eyeballs?
Yeah, the one with the
That
eyeballs poking
that
out.
one was so bad.
I laugh so hard and they seem to focus on it all the time, but I'm like, that one looks so bad.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yep, exactly.
but I've never made a mask myself to tell you how easy that is, and I can't imagine it's easy. So the fact that they got that amount of variety out of them, other places that it could have been budget constraints or whatever, but like the prosthetic fingers clearly can't pick up the goo that is supposed to be the human
Yeah.
remains that they're trying to feed. The human remains themselves look pretty like jello and curdled milk. It's pretty bad
Yeah.
itself. There's a particularly one scene that is criminally bad at the end when a certain character um eats an apple that corrupts her,
Oh my
and
gosh, yeah.
she ends up decomposing and getting eaten, and we see the remains of her torso that are clearly just a mannequin from a storefront window. Not even an attempt at realism.
I forgot
it,
about the
it,
ending too, man. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
it was almost like they had already finished the movie and were like, we need one more scene to set up a possible sequel.
That's what it felt
And
like. Yeah, there's like it was like just in case this movie, breaks even, let's just set up
yes,
the possibility of a sequel. You never know.
and then it's like, hey, we don't have the budget for that, so they just grabbed a mannequin and covered her in green jello and said, this is it.
Oh, sweet summer children. Little did you know.
All right, Bryce, you're up.
Yeah. I gave it a 1 actually. Like you said, there was some stuff that it was okay. Like I'm not going to totally destroy some of these prosthetics and set pieces that actually did look okay for the most part. Um but it's not enough to justify some of the horrendous set pieces and prosthetic stuff that they did. Specifically the quote unquote clovers on the humans, like that was not a clover. That looked like a
Oh, it's
piece of clay that was stuck on them. Like, come on.
yeah.
It looked awful. Like you
It-
said, the prosthetic hands trying to eat the goo and stuff just looked really bad. I think like sure, like I don't have no experience in making a mask, but also those masks did not look good at all. Um, I would say the most consistent special effects were the witch overall. Like her presentation, I guess if you want to say it like that, was the most consistent of anything in this movie. And I'll give props
yeah.
to that. Which,
Okay.
I'll touch on her later, but yeah, I think it's still just pretty awful. It's a 1.
All right. All right. So the next one, it looks like we're unanimous here. If um the script. So we're talking about the script next. I have to give the script a 0. It's a 0. The script
Right.
in this movie is atrocious. It's so bad that it is. I find it hilarious. People do not talk in normal ways. People do not say normal things. There is a little bit of a so from the documentary about this movie, the best worst movie ever made, the filmmakers were Italian, and Italian is their primary language. And so they wrote the script in Italian and then translated it to English. And you can
That's
almost
right. Yeah, I forgot about
yep,
that.
you can almost feel that in multiple scenes where it's just like that's not how you say something. That's not right. That doesn't flow or something just seems a little bit off at times with the script. And it's yeah, it's so bad it's good. I can't tell you how hilarious some of these lines are because I'm not gonna get the proper vocal inflection right. Like when the guy is turning into a plant, watching that random girl that was running through the woods get eaten, but he is
Yeah.
positioned. She is upstairs on a balcony, and he is downstairs, and he should not have been able to see her get eaten from the angle at which he was potted. Um, but he's watching her, and then he's his reaction. They're eating her, and then they're going to eat me. Oh my god! And it's just like, who writes this? That's not how people react.
Yeah.
Or just the entire sex scene is not natural whatsoever and utterly hilarious.
So
I don't even know.
here's a good
I don't even know
question.
where it came from.
Which one was worse, that one or Top Gun?
Oh,
Ah,
Top Gun was
see,
Top Gun had a little bit more detail than this.
yeah, which yeah, that's a see. I was people always told me Top Gun, but after watching this movie, I don't know. I've been going back and forth with both of them. Like, they're both pretty
I
awful.
This is definitely the funniest. So if you haven't seen this movie, and you should, um, there is so the last teenage boy in the RV that came with the boyfriend that's parked outside the woods for some reason. Um, they all came there to get laid because the boyfriend promised that there were loose women in Nilbog, which just sounds like it would be a thing, you know. So they go. All of his friends have slowly vanished. He's the last one. And then he just sees this mysterious, beautiful woman walking through the woods in this flowing long black nightgown and lingerie, holding piece a piece of corn. Not like a corn kernel, like corn on the cob. She's holding a corn cob with corn on it, walking through the woods. Why?
It's so
Why is she
stupid.
holding is she holding the cord? And so he's like, "Oh, here's the loose women I've heard all about." And she comes, and they have this really awkward exchange.
It's
This
so
really awkward
weird.
exchange, and then they go into the cabin, and she's like, "Oh, I can show you some things." And she puts the corn on the cob between their mouths, and they start eating this corn on the cob from opposite sides instead of making out. And he's like, "Oh, I like popcorn. I don't like this corn." And she's like, "Well, then let's heat it up."
It's so
and
bad. Oh my gosh.
then there's popcorn flying around them as they clearly get it on. It's so, why was it written? What's the significance of the corn? It's the
I
vegetarian
I
thing
I
again?
really don't know. Like, it really was just like this weird thing that happened.
It didn't even need to be in the movie, other than we don't even know that the boyfriend died. Other than after he survived the sex scene, and then at the end he was like, enough popcorn.
Yeah,
Anyways,
does he even like die? Like, what happened to him? He just kind of like, oh, no more popcorn. But then
yeah,
what? Like, that's the
that's
last you
it.
see of him. It's so.
We don't know, we
Oh,
don't
I
know what
hate this
happened to him.
movie. Anyway,
I want to see the director's cut.
shut up.
Anyways,
No, we don't.
no.
We don't want to watch that.
Bryce, what do you think of the script?
It's
Maybe
zero.
it's like Batman versus Superman, and it makes so much more sense when the extra scenes are added in.
It's a zero. The script has absolutely zero redeeming qualities. Again, I'm trying to think of anything more to say about it. It was painful. It definitely makes sense that they translated this into an English script, because it just does not read normal. The interactions aren't normal. I could go down a laundry list of all the most awkward things that were said in this movie.
It's
I just
nearly constant.
Yeah, it's bad. It is just straight trash. It's a 0 out of 5.
0 out of 5. That is, yeah. We were unanimous on that one. All
Dog
right.
water. Next.
So moving into the acting, I was pretty harsh on this, but I almost gave it a 1, but I had to sit back and really compare these performances to any other performance ever. And I was like, I'm not sure I've ever seen anything worse. So I had to give it a 0. I could not. I'm sitting there going like, have I seen bad acting? Yes.
Yes, you have.
Have I seen acting worse than this? No, no, I really haven't, and that's where the 1 comes from, or the 0. And this was hard because after watching the documentary, you kind of connect with the actors themselves. The daughter in this movie, I believe she went on to have a career, but would not list this movie on her resume.
Did she
Um,
really? I wonder what she was in. I'm actually
I
curious
don't think
now.
it was much. I don't think it was much. But like the dad in this movie is a dentist. That's his real life calling. And in the documentary, you kind of travel along with him. He's your main connection. And he just has a great time talking about how bad this movie was and how, like, the part that hurts is they all thought this was going to be their big break. They all got there and they believed in this director because he'd done other things before. They all were like, this is
Well,
it.
if I'm not mistaken, I think me and Megan looked this up in the trivia, but these people who were in like the stars of this movie were went into this movie thinking they were going to be side characters, like
Oh, did
background characters. They weren't even supposed to, they didn't think they were going to be main characters of this movie.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, so anyways, like from the documentary, you get to see the real life people. Like the woman who plays the mom is actually, it's just kind of tragic to watch her out because she seems like such a sweet lady, and now she has no career. She's taking care of her mom who can't live on her own. So you get to see some of the human behind these, and it's hard to rate that their acting was just so bad, but it just go to show that like good people aren't always good actors.
Right.
So I did give it a 0, but that is to say that you should take the time to watch the documentary because it's really eye-opening about like not just this movie in general, but behind bad movies are people who believe in it or who are truly
Yeah, totally.
trying to do something. And so it is kind of an interesting perspective on it. I actually I probably I like the documentary a lot actually. But anyways, what did you think of acting, Bryce?
So I was not actually as harsh as you were. I did notice a little thing in this movie that kind of harkened back to some movies that are bad that they're good. I don't know if they're so bad that it's good, but they're enjoyable. So this one, I was thinking of The Witch and how her performance reminded me, not as good, but it reminded me a lot of the charismatic nature of um what's his name? Chancellor Palpatine in the prequels for the in
Oh,
the
yeah.
prequels for the Star Wars movies. Like there was just this like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like she was just having fun with it, and it was almost so much fun that she was having that it was almost believable to an extent.
The character of the witch.
Yeah, what was that a good
Okay.
performance? Not necessarily. That's not. It was not. I would not compare. I would not say she's in the same realm as Chancellor Palpatine from the
Right.
prequel trilogy. But
Just
like
hamming it up.
yeah, it was almost like it was almost the same like charismatic acting that in a movie that's so bad that it just kind of sticks out as like this one little gleam of light of like, okay, this is the so bad it's good part. And I can get behind that. Um yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that. That's why I gave it a 1. Everyone else was bleh. Um
Yeah.
I
And
the
and that's I actually while I was watching it, there were moments that the witch I was like, this could have been a Disney Channel villain.
yeah,
Like I
that's
was
actually a
getting
good way to
those
put
vibes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been a Disney Channel villain, but outside of her, everyone is pretty rough and I'm not listen. These actors with the right script could have probably done some good stuff. I'm not gonna, not gonna totally destroy them, but also at the same time, when you just have to watch it. When you see some of the way these lines are delivered, it's just, I'm sorry, it's pretty bad. So it's a 1 out of 5. There's not a lot to be there's a lot to be desired in these performances.
All right. Oh man. Moving on into direction. So this is one that it's kind of tragic.
Is it though?
The one I gave it a 1. I'm not sure why. Uh, I think I gave it a 1 because I have a soft spot after the documentary for the guy. He had made other things. He was kind of, I believe he was like an up and coming director from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote this script and he fully believed in this script and he thought he was making this great film. Um, it's not. It's far from that.
Right.
And in the documentary there was a resurgence in the early 2000s, I want to say, about this movie has become immensely popular because of how bad it is, and it has an online cult following, and there are movie theaters across the country that will do like midnight showings of Troll 2 or special events around it. There are people who dress up as characters. Like, it's got the whole cult following issue going on. Um, but he was invited to one of those midnight showings and went. And he left early because he was so upset with the audience reaction to the film. And he was upset, like, they're laughing at parts that I made serious. They're laughing at, like, this isn't supposed to be a funny movie, and they're treating it like one. And I think that's why I gave it a 1, because he missed the mark. He missed the mark. It's not a scary movie. It's not a serious movie. It's a hilariously bad movie. But I have to say that I think I gave it the 1 because of that soft spot from seeing the actual man and seeing that what he created is not what people are, what he was trying to create is not what people are seeing.
How
So that's where my 1 came from,
yeah,
because
how
it
forgiving
really
of
doesn't,
you.
yeah, it really doesn't deserve much of anything.
Yep, no, it doesn't at all. You're right.
Unless you like really super close up shots of people that cut off the tops of their head and their mouth sometimes while they're talking.
Yeah, I will not be so forgiving. It was a 0 for me. It's
I'm telling
I
you, the director's cut will change your mind.
listen, I understand, like, I can sympathize with a director who had a vision for something, and I mean, people made fun of it. Yeah, I can sympathize with that. Um but I mean, if it's bad, it's bad. Like, I think there can be encouragement there of like, hey, just keep working at your craft, do what you got to do, like, no big deal. Um, that's fine, but I mean, you made one of the worst movies of all time. That can't be looked past, sir. So while I can
Yeah.
sympathize with the director for that, I'm sorry, your movie still sucks and it's not good in any way. So keep working at your craft, and I hope you are encouraged by that. But otherwise, this movie can be just tucked in the back corner, maybe collect some dust.
Yeah, and it had. Um, so moving on to our it factor, then the cultural significance behind the film. It's a big fat 0. There's no cultural significance when the movie was released, which is what I base the score on. When the movie was released, nothing. Big fat nada. Since then, we mentioned that the cult following has grown. That for some people that could raise that it factor, but I'm going on based on the initial release. There wasn't it much.
Okay, cool. I did it based on when I watched it, which was now. And obviously, based on that, it's got quite an impact on the culture. For all the wrong reasons, so that I gave it a 4 because of that. But yeah, I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a movie buff who has never heard of Troll 2 before. Um, I mean, outside of The Room, this is probably next in line for uh cultural
Worst movie.
significance for worst movie, like with a
Yes.
movie that's considered the worst of all time. So it's like second in line. So I mean, I graded it based on when I just watched it. So yeah, I mean, it's a 4. Obviously, if I graded this based on when it was released, it would get a 0. So yeah, guess that's that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you mentioned The Room because I wanted to like I honestly don't think it's as bad as The Room.
Yeah, The Room's pretty
Have
bad.
you have you tried to watch The Room?
I mean, yeah, tried is the word I would use.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay,
I
but if I had to
was
do if
able
I had to do an episode on it, I'd have to sit through it like I did with this one. Because trust me, I would have been out in the first 10 minutes of this movie if I had the choice.
I made it through this one because I find it hilarious and I think it's so bad. This is better than most comedies made in the last 30 years. Um
Okay, but you have a weird taste of
I
comedy,
I
so
do. I
let's
do.
let's not put too much weight on that one.
Yep, I that's totally fair and accurate. But I would sit through this movie again anytime. Um just have to have the right assistance. But the Room, I could not make it through. The Room was so bad. The Room was unbearably bad. So I don't like. Are these probably bottom two movies? Yes. However, another one, like the best worst movie ever made, The Disaster Artist is a fantastic movie.
It actually is. I was literally about to mention that.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite movies from that year. When did that come out
Yep.
again? That
That was a fantastic film.
it was great.
2018, 2019.
Yeah, no, that was a great movie. I really like that one.
All right. So then let's wrap this up with how entertained we were. And do you want to go first?
Sure, I love to.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
figured it'd be short for you.
it will be because it was a 0. I had absolutely 0 fun watching this movie, and I never want to watch it again.
All right. See, this is what I said at the beginning about this is an example of Bryce not having fun.
No, yeah, this movie was awful. I do not voluntarily watch these kind of movies ever.
So you hear that? Keep those requests
I was
coming.
gonna say that's
Let's get
the
them in.
only way you're gonna make me watch a movie this bad is if it's requested for an episode.
And Bryce drug his feet on this one.
I literally waited till the very last second to watch this movie.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He did wait a while. So I give it an entertainment factor of 8 out of 10. I'm thoroughly entertained by this movie because it is just so bad. It makes no sense. Nothing about it. Out of all of the other things we've mentioned, we haven't even mentioned like the gathering in the barn of humans that are actually trolls in disguise that for some reason, when they're all alone together, are human instead of being their troll self. Yeah, just another random scene that makes no sense and is hilarious and it's great. I have so much fun watching this movie. I honestly can't tell you the last time I had this much fun at something so bad. So it is definitely like it's definitely not for everybody. Not everybody has the patience to sit through a bad movie. The good news is that this one I think is like it's just 90 minutes or 92 minutes. It's free on Tubi. Um
Yeah, it's free on Amazon as well if you have Prime.
okay. Get some I mean, pour some drinks, have other friends who you can just enjoy bashing on a movie with, have them over, and I am sure there are drinking games for this movie online somewhere.
Oh yeah, there's somewhere, definitely
Yeah, I
somewhere.
got yeah. So like there this is just a movie that you do not sit down and try to decipher the story. You don't sit down and try to learn a lesson from. This movie is just it's so bad it's good. So for me, my enjoyment score of an 8 takes it to a nice fat score of 13. Yeah,
Yeah,
13 out of 50.
sounds about right.
And that would be on my list. That puts it right at a terrible.
Cool. Mine was 6, so it's definitely a terrible.
So 6 on our scale puts it at unwatchable according to Bryce, and that's how
Oh,
Bryce felt about it.
that's it. No, that's actually better. I thought it was just gonna be terrible. Nope, that is way better. Man,
No,
this list is accurate.
we have 0 to 10 as an unwatchable film. 11 to 20 is terrible. 21 to 25 is bad.
Yep, I like that. That lines up perfectly.
Yep. So Bryce, it does, and that's why I figured out this number system. Um, yeah, 0 to 10, unwatchable for Bryce. I thought it was just terrible, but for me, it's the so bad that it's good terrible. So, anyways, Bryce, you have final thoughts on this?
Yeah, don't watch this movie at
What
all.
does that what does that put our average to, by the way?
It's gotta be like,
Well, I gotta
ooh,
get your wife's score in there.
oh, what is that gonna put it at? It's probably like 10, 8, somewhere in probably 10 or 9, I would assume.
I I mathed the wrong line for her.
Yeah, as for like final thoughts though, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested in watching the documentary to see more details about like what went on. Because as far as I'm aware, this movie was never actually supposed to happen, and it's not even a direct follow up to the first Troll.
No, it's not.
And so that's what makes that. I mean, that alone just makes this more interesting. I am genuinely curious to see the behind the scenes of this movie and why things happened the way they did. So, yeah,
So you want me to fill you in on why the name is Troll 2?
no, I want to experience that because
You want to watch a documentary?
yeah,
Okay.
I want to experience that within a documentary. No
Okay.
spoilers.
Well, so there you go, people. Just so you know, you should watch the documentary. And no, this is not a case where you need to see Troll 1 to watch Troll 2. So like I kind of hinted at the beginning, it's called Troll 2, but the villains in this movie are goblins. Yeah, they're not trolls. Not even related. Not even in the title. So were you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Your final thoughts, and let's wrap this up.
All right. So the final score averaged out is actually 7 out of 50. 7 out of 50, which puts it at an unwatchable. I think I need to get some other people in there who are on my side of things who enjoy these terrible movies.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
bring that score up to the terrible category. But I I mean, I kind of went over it earlier. If you have friends who are I think there's a niche crowd of people who are cinephiles who love movies that also just love when movies go wrong. And this is a perfect example of when everything goes wrong in a movie. And
Everything.
everything. I don't think you could, I said it earlier, I don't think you could make this movie on purpose. Like, it was, but it was made to be a horror movie,
Right.
and it ends up being absolutely hilarious at almost every turn. I think if you had gone out to make this movie a comedy, no one would have ever heard of it. It would have gone to the bottom of the dollar bin in VHS and never made it to DVD. It wouldn't have worked. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work. It has lasted as long as it has because it was meant to be serious and is somehow one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. If you're one of those weird people out there like me who enjoys a good bad movie, Troll 2 is well worth the time. Just you got to be ready. You got to be prepared for it. You got to be in the right state of mind and you'll enjoy it.
Guys, don't listen to him. He's lying to you. He's selling you false hope. Don't don't do this to yourself. Come on. You guys know better.
It's like I said at the beginning. Do you like movies who promise a little bit of everything and deliver on absolutely nothing? That's this movie.
He's a liar and he knows it. Well,
That's just I also yeah.
yeah.
That's all we have. That's all we have.
That's all.
So,
That's That's all I got. I cannot give any more. I'm sorry. This is where I draw the line finally.
Yeah, I think I've said all that can be said about this movie. I don't, at least for now, at least until I watch it again and remember some more great scenes.
Yeah. Well, luckily we got a plethora of movies to pick from for our next episode, so we can have a nice palate cleanser for the next episode whenever that is. So go ahead and let us know if there's a specific one you want us to see. I know now with Dune 2 being postponed till next year, my year has been ruined, so I am
No,
pretty loose on whatever movies we do next, honestly.
Bryce is feeling loose.
I'm feeling a
Uh,
little loose. We have a few that we can do here. So let us know if there's a specific one that you want us to review or a personal request of a personal favorite that's not as bad as Troll 2. That would be great. Yeah, go ahead and follow us on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. Go ahead and follow us on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify. Share with your friends. And don't forget to hit up the link tree to review the movies yourself. Give us your scores and your comments. We'll share those in episodes if we get enough, or any at all. That'd be cool too. Tim, I miss anything?
no, no.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Oh,
If you're interested in guesting on an episode someday, shoot us a message over on Instagram too.
yeah,
We like to have a rotation of people visit, so it's not just Bryce and I going back and forth all the time.
yeah.
So if
Funny
there's something
enough,
you want to talk
we
about.
we enjoy not doing as much talking as we do in these, and we'd love to hear other opinions as well. So
Yeah.
please
I
let
mean,
us know if you're interested.
since the whole point is to bring differing opinions together, we gotta get some different people in here to
True.
yeah.
I think we got a couple people in the works right now to get on an episode.
Yes. I
So
am in touch with a couple people who
yeah,
we should be getting on here soon. So
yeah. So reach out and let us know if you're interested. We'd love to try to make some magic happen. So anyway, I'm
that's
done.
what she said.
I'm okay. Okay, Tim.
And with that, we are done.
And with that, we are done. Thank you for listening and watching this episode. Tune in next time, and we will see y'all in that episode.